Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your. The Warriors need a great player to help Stephen Curry lead the Warriors back to their glory days and restore their NBA dynasty and become a team feared by their Western rivals. This player could be available for a deal that would make an impact on the NBA and put the Warriors in a position to win the championship again. Derrick White of the Boston Celtics is the ideal player to play for the Warriors. With Steve Kerr's big three of Steph Curry, 37, Jimmy Butler, 35, and Draymond Green, 35, not getting any younger, the time is now to trade in some youth for one more chance at a title for his aging core. With Curry, Butler, and Green all locked up for the next couple of seasons, Mike Dunleavy Jr. will need to make moves around the edges to add to his star trio after their second-round playoff exit showed that if Curry is either not Chef Curry on any given night or if he's off the court altogether, the roster just isn't there to overcome the two-time NBA MVP's off nights or absences. In a trade idea by Bleacher Report's Greg Swartz, the Warriors go for one final run at an NBA championship by acquiring a perfect piece to their puzzle in the form of a Boston Celtics do-it-all guard. Golden State Warriors receive Derrick White, Sam Hauser. Boston Celtics receive Jonathan Kuminga, via sign-and-trade, Tracy Jackson-Davis. The proposed deal would see the Warriors sign Kuminga to a projected 4-year, $88 million extension before sending him to Boston alongside Tracy Jackson-Davis. For the Warriors, this deal makes all the sense in the world. White provides Curry with another guard capable of knocking down threes at a rate that would consider him to be the future Hall of Famer's new splash brother. The Dubs would also add another sharpshooter off the bench with championship experience in Hauser. On the other side of the deal, Celtics' new ownership would be happy to shed the $38+ million that's due to White and Hauser in 2025, while only bringing in less than $25 million per season. With another deal or two likely on the table for the reigning champions on the horizon, Bill Chisholm would be on track to get under the second apron, avoiding a hefty $500 million bill in his first full season as the 18-time champion's new owner. While saving money is virtually a must for the Celtics this summer, adding another versatile wing that's capable of defending multiple positions is a Brad Stevens favorite. For Kuminga, he'd get a chance for a featured role alongside Jaylen Brown as Jason Tatum is set to miss most of, if not, the entire 2025 to 2026 season after undergoing surgery to repair the torn Achilles he suffered in the Celtics' Eastern Conference semifinals loss against the New York Knicks earlier this month. Jonathan Kuminga wants to leave the Warriors this summer and follow his dream of being an all-star player. The Golden State Warriors are officially out of the NBA playoffs after a second-round defeat to the Minnesota Timberwolves. This summer, the Dubs will respond with several roster moves, and Jonathan Kuminga is at the top of the list. According to the latest intel, the young swingman is eager to branch out of Golden State and prove himself as a leading star in another organization. Kuminga, league sources said, still has visions of becoming an all-star, not fitting into an ever-moving mid-tier rotation role, wrote The Athletic's Anthony Slater. He wants to be a featured player in an NBA offense and chase the 20-point and beyond dreams he's spent his life chasing, and the last week of his fourth season tasting. There isn't an irreconcilable player and coach or player and organization personality clash, league sources said. This is all about finding the contract and opportunity Kuminga craves. Kuminga, 22, was drafted 7th overall by the Warriors in 2021. After a promising rookie campaign, Kuminga earned a larger role after helping the Warriors win the title. Slowly but surely, he's been moving up the Warriors' hierarchy and taking on increasingly large roles. In the 2024-25 campaign, however, Kuminga's place on the team became unclear as Steve Kerr began to cut back his minutes and opportunities. Down to an average of 24.3 minutes per game, Kerr lost faith in Jonathan, especially down the stretch when he received several DNPs in the playoffs. Now, his future is in doubt with his contract set to expire at the end of this season. The Warriors' front office, Kuminga's representatives, and the league are expected to explore all options into July, wrote Slater. But team sources have been hinting that, Because of these market and financial restrictions, there's a likely world where the most obvious and prudent path is for them to bring Kuminga back and figure the rest out later. On paper, Kuminga is putting up decent numbers and looks like a promising young swingman. This past season, he averaged 15.3 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 2.2 assists per game on 45.5% shooting. At 6 feet 8 inches and 210 pounds, he's an ideal size at the forward position, but frequent lapses in judgment have hindered his growth on the Warriors. Now, after losing in the semifinals, Kuminga has a chance to decide his own NBA future, but it's impossible to say where he'll be when it's all said and done. With his skills, Kuminga could be a great addition for a young, developing team like the Spurs, Pistons, or the Orlando Magic. Depending on what he asks for in his next contract, he might also be chased by some title contenders looking for one final piece. These teams include the Nuggets, Timberwolves, and Rockets, who were all in the NBA playoffs this year. Despite his current wishes, it's also possible that Kuminga will end up back in Golden State. With the rise of Jimmy Butler, his services aren't needed nearly as much, but the Warriors may decide to take another chance on him as a key piece to their future. With so much potential and an impressive work ethic, Jonathan Kuminga believes he's ready for a bigger role, and he might be willing to leave the Warriors behind to pursue it. Steph Curry's forward Jimmy Butler answer will make Golden State Warriors fans happy. Stephen Curry picks out Jimmy Butler to play an important role alongside him on the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors trading for Jimmy Butler helped the team turn around their regular season as they went 23-8 after the move. Thanks to Butler's arrival, the Dubs managed to clinch the number 7 seed in the Western Conference. However, even with Butler on the roster, the Warriors failed to make a deep postseason run. The Warriors suffered a 4-1 second-round defeat at the hands of the Minnesota Timberwolves in the absence of Stephen Curry as the 4x NBA champion missed time due to a hamstring injury. Steph Curry's forward answer about Jimmy Butler. Sure, many Warriors fans have debated what could have happened if Curry had been healthy, but the reality remains that the team is out of the playoffs. Now with a long offseason ahead of them, Curry was recently seen at the 2025 Memorial Tournament Celebrity Pro-Am. During the event, Curry was asked to pick anyone in NBA history to take the final shot in a game to win. Right now, Jimmy Butler, Steph said. While Curry didn't take long to take Butler's name, the Warriors superstar was seemingly annoyed at the reporter ambushing him during the event. Butler's plan for next season with Curry. At the end of the day, Warriors fans will be happy to hear Steph take Butler's name. However, it certainly raised a few eyebrows about Steph not taking Kevin Durant's name. After all, he won 2 NBA championships with him. Anyway, coming back to the Curry-Butler duo, many must be wondering when they will plan for the upcoming season amid an early exit. Well, Jimmy answered this question by stating, "Maybe on the plane, I don't know." Either way, the Warriors have a tough offseason ahead of them as their core of stars isn't getting any younger next season. Cameron Johnson is a great name for the Warriors to consider. The Golden State Warriors should call about acquiring a late lottery pick in the 2025 NBA draft to use in a 3-team trade to land Cameron Johnson. The Nets are shopping the 6 feet 8 inches forward, subscription required, to try to move up or land a second lottery selection. Brooklyn has the 8th overall pick, and fans know the 10th, 13th, and 14th selections are likely available at the right price. The Warriors should try to work out a 3-team deal. The 6 feet 8 inches forward is a plug-and-play option for the Dubs. He is a career 39.2% three-point shooter over 2,014 attempts with the size and versatility to guard multiple positions. Johnson helped the Suns reach the NBA Finals in 2021 and is in the middle of his prime. He can score 18 every night or settle into a lesser role as a 3-and-D forward. It is whatever his team needs to win. The Dubs still have a scoring issue and need more size. They had nowhere to turn against the Timberwolves, especially when Stephen Curry was injured. Johnson provides offensive firepower and lineup versatility, which is why Golden State should already be working the phones. Warriors should acquire Cam Johnson. Johnson is a better version of Jonathan Kuminga for the Warriors. He offers floor spacing and playmaking upgrades at the same size. The 29-year-old would allow Golden State to go small with Draymond Green at the 5 and still have enough shooting. Nobody is leaving Stephen Curry, but Johnson is another plus shooter that teams will have to track. That opens the lane for Jimmy Butler to attack and get easy buckets. The Warriors only have the 41st overall pick in the 2025 draft, so they are not trading up without significant assets included. It would be time to deal Moses Moody and salary filler to get Johnson. They would need a team with a lottery pick as the third in this deal. The Spurs are always willing to play ball, and Chicago would have zero qualms as they look to retool. Golden State is all in on the next 2 years. They want Stephen Curry to go out on a contender. It is why they traded for Jimmy Butler and sink the contracts of their 3 best players. Getting Cam Johnson gives the Warriors the shooting and versatility they need. It would have to be a team effort on the glass, but that is always a problem when going small. The Golden State Warriors should be trying to do whatever possible to upgrade their roster. Johnson is an intriguing target, but the Dubs have multiple holes to fill. Expect the front office to be aggressive. Will it result in Cameron Johnson on the Warriors? Do not be shocked. The Nets want to move on, and the Bay Area is the perfect landing spot. All fans can do is hope this dream becomes reality. Warriors face an immovable barrier to pulling off a Giannis Antetokounmpo trade. This is starting to become a real problem. The Golden State Warriors, like almost every team around the NBA, are currently awaiting movement on Giannis Antetokounmpo's future with the Milwaukee Bucks. According to NBA insider Mark Stein on Monday, it remains unclear, furthermore, if he, Antetokounmpo, ultimately will or he won't request a trade. Needless to say that should the 2x MVP declare his intention to move, the Warriors will be one of a plethora teams interested in what would be a blockbuster trade. However, Golden State face a huge obstacle to their hopes of trading for Antetokounmpo, and unfortunately for them it's one they can't do anything about. Warriors face an immovable barrier to landing Giannis Antetokounmpo. According to Stein's report, the Bucks are using their presence in the East and the disparity between the two conferences as a significant case in trying to convince Antetokounmpo to remain with the franchise. Word is that the Bucks are trying to build a good bit of their case for convincing Antetokounmpo to give them another shot to build a title team around him by loudly reminding him about the current state of the Eastern Conference, Stein wrote. Unfortunately for Golden State and every other team in the Western Conference, this is becoming quite the problem and a legitimate reason as to why superstar players may want to join, or remain, in the East. The gap between the two conferences has only widened in recent weeks, most notably thanks to the Dallas Mavericks' stunning rise to the number 1 overall pick in the draft lottery and subsequent access to Cooper Flagg. The San Antonio Spurs also rose up to the number 2 pick, with the 2 Texas teams jumping up above multiple East teams like the Washington Wizards, Charlotte Hornets, and Brooklyn Nets. Jason Tatum's devastating torn Achilles has only opened up the East even further. The long-term injury means the Boston Celtics are no longer the powerhouse team they once appeared, not to mention their exorbitant payroll means significant changes are likely coming this offseason regardless. A healthy pairing of Antetokounmpo and Stephen Curry would assuredly be a playoff team in the West, but it's far from a guarantee of a deep run like it probably would be in the East. There's very little going in Milwaukee's favor as they deal with a devastating torn Achilles of their own with star point guard Damian Lillard, but the East versus West narrative is a very real factor that could be the difference in the Warriors' hopes of acquiring Antetokounmpo.